1801, a woman named Xu Yang was working on a floating brothel in the Pearl River Delta when a pirate commander named Zheng Yi decided he wanted to marry her. She agreed, under one condition. She wanted 50% of everything he owned and co-command of his fleet. He agreed. This negotiation, conducted in 1801, in a context where women had approximately no legal standing and pirates had approximately no interest in sharing power, is the first indication of who Qing Shi was and how she operated. She was 26 years old. She was not negotiating from a position of strength in any conventional sense. She was negotiating from a position of clarity. She understood what she was worth to him, and she priced herself accordingly. Within months of their marriage, the Red Flag fleet had grown from 200 ships to once 800. Not a typo. 200 to 1,800. She did not do this through violence alone. She did it through organizational genius, consolidating rival pirate confederations, creating a disciplined command structure, establishing a code of conduct that her fleet actually followed. The code was strict and, by the standards of the era, surprisingly sophisticated. Desertion was punishable by death. Theft of a fellow pirate's share of plunder was punishable by death, and the rape or abuse of female captives was punishable by death. Women captured by the fleet were to be treated with respect unless they agreed to marry a pirate, in which case, the pirate was then responsible for them. Fidelity was required, an order to remain faithful to a captive wife enforced by execution in a pirate fleet of 80,000 men. The Red Flag Fleet became the largest military organization on the South China Sea. Not the largest pirate fleet, the largest naval force, period. Larger than most national navies of the time. Zheng Yi died in 1807. The circumstances are unclear. Possibly a typhoon, possibly assassination in Vietnam, possibly both, depending on the source. He was 42 years old. What happened next is not what typically happens when a pirate commander dies suddenly. Qing Shi, which means simply widow of Zheng, did not mourn and retire. She did not wait to see which of the male commanders would claim leadership. She moved immediately, precisely, and without sentimentality. She went to Zheng Yi's adopted son, Chung Po Tsai, who was the designated heir and the person most likely to challenge her for command. She proposed marriage. Chung Po Tsai was in his 20s, the second most powerful person in the fleet, and understood the tactical situation clearly. He agreed. Within weeks of her husband's death, Qing Shi had secured her leadership of the Red Flag Fleet through the most efficient consolidation of power available to her, and had done it without violence, without political crisis, and without losing a ship. This is the second indication of who Qing Shi was. The years 1807 to 1810 were the height of the Red Flag Fleet under her direct command. The fleet operated in the Pearl River Delta and along the coast of Guangdong Province. It was not a fleet of outlaws hiding from the law. It was an economic institution. Coastal towns, merchant ships, fishing operations, and trading companies paid tribute to the Red Flag Fleet in exchange for protection and the right to continue operating. The tribute system was systematic and, by the standards of the industry, reliable. If you paid, you were protected. If you didn't pay, the consequences were swift and documented. The Qing dynasty government attempted to suppress the fleet in 1808. The Imperial Navy assembled a substantial force and set a trap in the Pearl River. Qing Shi's fleet destroyed it. The details of this engagement, recorded in Qing dynasty documents, describe the government's forces being captured and many of their ships being added to the Red Flag Fleet. The commander of the government forces, described as humiliated by the outcome, later drowned himself. The Portuguese Navy attempted to suppress the fleet in 1809 at the Battle of Tung Chung Bay. The Portuguese were the dominant European maritime power in the region. They had been in Macau since 1557. They knew the Pearl River Delta better than almost any other foreign power, and they had modern naval equipment. The battle lasted 2 days. The Portuguese forces were beaten back. Several Portuguese ships were captured. The British East India Company, observing all of this, decided that discretion was the better part of valor. In 1809, the company and the Red Flag Fleet reached a formal agreement. British ships and goods could move through the South China Sea unharmed, in exchange for not assisting the Qing government or the Portuguese in their suppression campaigns. The largest commercial organization in the world signed a truce with Qing Shi because fighting her was too expensive. 3 navies, 3 outcomes, none of them favorable to the navies. By early 1810, the situation had changed. The Qing government, having failed militarily, tried a different approach. Amnesty. Any pirate who surrendered would be pardoned. The offer was genuine, and the terms were negotiable. And the government was so desperate to end the situation that it was willing to accept almost any terms that produced surrender. The timing mattered. The Black Flag Fleet, the second largest confederation, under a commander named Guo Podai, had turned against Qing Shi and accepted amnesty, joining the Qing Navy. This betrayal removed a significant portion of the Confederation's strength and changed the strategic calculus. Qing Shi understood what the situation required. She was not cornered. She was not defeated. She was making a business decision. On April 20th, 1810, she walked into negotiations with the Qing government. She was 45 years old. She had commanded 1,800 ships and 80,000 people. She had defeated the Chinese Imperial Navy, the Portuguese Navy, and effectively neutralized the British. She had built the largest pirate organization in human history from a starting position of 0 institutional power. And she was walking into a government office to negotiate her own surrender. Her terms: she would retire from piracy. She would hand over the fleet. She would deliver her ships, her cannons, and her weapons to the imperial government. In exchange, she kept every coin of the fortune she had accumulated. Her officers would receive military commissions in the Qing army. Her sailors would be pardoned. She would face no criminal charges. She would be free to live wherever she wished and do whatever she wished. The Qing government, which had spent years and enormous resources trying to destroy her and failed completely, agreed to everything. Of the tens of thousands of pirates in the Red Flag Fleet, fewer than 400 faced any punishment. The rest walked away. She walked away with the money. Qing Shi retired to Guangdong, then moved to Macau. She opened a gambling house. The gambling house was successful. She ran it for more than 30 years. She died in 1844 at the age of 69, natural causes, in her own home, with her money. Blackbeard, Edward Teach, the most famous pirate in Western history, commanded 4 ships and approximately 300 men. He was cornered by a Royal Navy lieutenant in 1718 and killed in combat. He was 40 years old or younger. His head was cut off and displayed on the bow of the ship that killed him. The entire Caribbean pirate population during the so-called Golden Age of Piracy, the period from approximately 1650 to 1730 that produced Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and every pirate story that Western culture has romanticized, was perhaps 5,000 people total. Their most famous figures commanded ships numbered in the single digits and were killed, hanged, or drowned before they were 50. Qing Shi commanded 80,000 people. She retired on her own terms. She died at 69. She is not in any of the same conversations as Blackbeard. The reasons for this are not complicated. She operated in China, not the Caribbean. She operated at a time when Western chroniclers were not paying systematic attention to Chinese maritime history. She was a woman. She won. Victors who look like the expected kind of victor get written into history. Victors who don't tend to get rediscovered later by historians who were looking for something else and found her instead. She is now understood by historians of the period to be unambiguously the most successful pirate who ever lived. She pirated longer. She commanded more. She made more money. She negotiated better terms. She retired in comfort and lived long and died peacefully. She just did it in the South China Sea, in Chinese, in a century when the people writing history in languages that lasted weren't watching. They should have been. She was extraordinary.